Hi, my name's David Rippey. For those that didn't see my episode on setting goals, this episode is going to be on hiring caregivers and some of the things that I learned through the years living with a high level paralysis injury. I'm basically paralyzed from the shoulders down, which meant that I required a lot of help and a lot of assistance to meet not only my basic needs, what I would be getting up in the morning, bathing, dressing, etc., but also caregivers I need to think about later on when I decide to go back and pursue a career. So the first thing we want to work on is determine what needs you need. Mine was pretty understandable, as I explained a few minutes earlier. I needed people to help me not only get up, but to drive me, feed me, bathe me. A lot of the requirements that most of us might not have. So the first thing you want to do is determine what do you need help with. Do you need help with shopping? Is your mobility compromised, but you can still use your arms? To where maybe it'd be helpful to have people that can help shop and do things for you. If you suffer from another type of injury like blindness, for instance, what would you need to help take care of you? So the first thing we want to do is we want to determine what help do we need and make a list. Think of all the things you can't do now that you could do before. Now you require assistance. So that'd be our first one. I'd also say the best thing to do is reach out. If you've gone through a hospital experience or a rehab, they can be your best source for gaining information on caregivers, what's local, maybe certain type of agencies. They might have programs set up to where they have people that are pursuing further education and would like some internship possibilities. Maybe hire them where they can get some college credits. I've been fortunate enough to do that in the past. One of the things I emphasize is when you're in that hospital, and as I mentioned, you want to look to give some of your favorite caregivers opportunities. Maybe there's a couple in there that are they've been there a long time, for instance. Maybe they're looking to work one-on-one. Maybe not have to take care of 10 people at the hospital or the rehab at the same time. These are your best sources. I was fortunate enough to come home from the hospital and brought a caregiver that lived in my home that was also going on for a nursing degree. That was a lifesaver for me and my parents. So look first at your local hospitals, your rehabs. Maybe people you'll meet out in public might turn around and say, hey, what are your needs? And a lot of people might be afraid to ask what your needs are. This is where you can confidently tell them that, I require assistance with this or this. So first you have your list of needs. You'll reach out to local rehabs and caregivers that might work at these hospitals and healthcare facilities and get their opinion. See if they have friends that might be interested in helping you as well. So I would say your best bet is to first look at those rehabs and those hospitals. Talk to the people there. See what other patients are coming home that might have connections that you don't have. Talk to your therapist. Some of them might have friends or people that are looking for a job. So reach out to them first. They're going to be your best source. And a lot of them can vet the people they're recommending. I was fortunate enough, as I mentioned, to come home with a nurse from a hospital who came and stayed in my house working as an assistant. That was the greatest thing we've done. I'd also look at developing, several help wanted ads. What you're looking for. Have those ready just in case somebody goes down that you need to hire someone immediately. I would also like to add that creating a resource of credible go-to sites. Could be care.com. It could be local bulletin boards on local universities. Reach out to those colleges, local ones. I've took advantage of many. There's been about 5 local colleges I've worked with. All of them bringing to me some great assistance over the years. So see what they offer in the way of advertisement. And maybe they have a school newspaper. I reached out to the dean of a nursing program before and said, look, do you have nursing students that want some good hands-on experience? So don't be afraid to reach out to your local university. They can be one of your greatest resources. One of the things I've found all through the years of hiring healthcare workers is that students want experience. There's many out there not even in the healthcare field. So seek talented assistants also outside of the healthcare field. If your needs run more toward having someone drive you, shop, do your laundry, Just typical chores we might hire, a cleaning person. So look beyond just the healthcare needs. There's many, many different positions and times within that day of yours where you're not going to require pure healthcare. So don't be afraid to reach out. I've hired people in the past, from dog walkers to artists, people with just a lot of heart and compassion, but necessarily didn't have a healthcare background. So I would suggest that you look into other areas, and you might find some common things you enjoy doing. I would also don't prejudge abilities. When somebody comes into your house and say you're in a wheelchair or disabled, they might be a little intimidated at first. They may not feel at ease. What you want to do is set their mind at ease right off the bat. As I explained in my other video, Setting Goals, this straw on the left side of my shoulder is not used for anything simply except for maneuvering my chair. This is what they call a sip and puff wheelchair. I'm not taking drinks from it. It's not serving me some oxygen. So you want to set their minds at ease on your condition. What are your healthcare needs? How serious are they? And you want to let them feel confident that they can also help you not only with your healthcare needs, but maybe you can find other talents that they have that weren't discovered immediately. Ask them their hobbies. I was fortunate enough to ask one person, I said, what do you like to do when you're not working healthcare? She goes, well, I'm a hairstylist. I do hair and things like that. That's how I make a living when I'm not doing healthcare. So I thought I hit a home run that day. That was great. Now I had somebody that could actually, have a free hairstylist every morning when I got up. So you want to look for things you're good at. I've had other assistants that were as diverse as great artists. I said, bring me in some work. Show me some of your things you've done. I'd be interested in seeing them. And I was so impressed with her work that she did murals for me. We thought of some great wall designs, and she helped me paint some very amazing things all through my house. So it's a lot of fun for them, a lot of fun for you. So try to discover things that maybe it's not going to be apparent on the surface. Of course, the primary thing is your healthcare concerns. You want to make sure they're well trained. So you want to have a designated trainer or two that works for you that can help explain your healthcare specific needs. I would think that's very important also to show any electrical equipment or any equipment that you use to get motor yourself, like me, for instance. It was very important that healthcare workers knew how to put on the brakes, how to reset the wheelchair, how to make sure it was plugged in so I'd have enough battery the next day. Early on, there was a few trips that I made of, like Gettysburg, for example, Annapolis, Maryland, to where I didn't adequately prepare in advance. I failed to see if my batteries were properly charged, and of course my chair ran out about a mile from where I was staying. So you want to make sure that things are lined up. Treat your day no different than what you might see for a pilot, where he might check his checklist. Make sure your checklist is checked, and that will save you a lot of problems going forward. So the more proactive you are in determining what needs to take place, whether it's your healthcare workers, whether it's your equipment, make sure everyone's up to date and up to speed on what your needs are. One of the things that's very important and crucial, just like I mentioned about the pilot, this checklist. Make sure your to-do list includes everything you need to have done. Make sure it includes like everything simple as taking the trash out when it's full, changing the laundry, the sheets on your bed. I think a to-do list goes well when you're talking about the vehicle you're getting around in. I use a van, so I want to make sure that they knew all about the van, what to do. Make sure the lights are off and everything else. A lot of this is common sense, but there's many times that if somebody has to leave early, that things can be forgotten or things not picked up by the following person coming in after them. So you make sure your to-do list is complete. Make sure it includes all the things that you're interested in having done. Since I can't turn lights out. So one of the most important things for me was to tell citizens, hey, check the list, make sure the lights are out before you leave, the door is locked. Things like this as I live on my own. So you want to make sure your to-do list is comprehensive. Keep it posted in your bathroom. Keep one in the kitchen. Keep one by the front door. So they make sure they do it before they leave. I would also say another thing to do is look for hobbies. Look for common interests. As I mentioned earlier, I met a girl that worked for me as an assistant who had a great artistic talent. She helped me design some amazing murals, as I mentioned. Also, there's others that like to go for hikes. They like to go for a drive. They might want to drive you to the shore or somewhere close by so you can get out of your home for a while. So look for hobbies that interest them, not only yourself, but interest them as well. I've had a lot of people that like to go to art museums. They like to go to the zoo. Some of them like going to see animals. So find things that you enjoy to do and ask them what their thoughts are on helping you do that. I would also say another thing is to understand their needs. Be appreciative. I mean, they don't have to be there. They can be working some other job. So when you find common interest, when you find common hobbies, when you find things you both enjoy together, since you'll be spending some time with your caregivers, the best times you can have is the ones where that friendship develops, where that laughter happens as they enjoy things with you. Take memories, take pictures, compare them. It's a lot of fun when you have assistants that also enjoy what you're doing and maybe aren't just sitting in the other room, hoping the ship's almost over. So go out and do some things. They want to have fun too. As I mentioned, one of the most important things is to show your appreciation for the people taking care of you. Thank yous go a long way. It's easy to be polite, and you'll find that things will go much smoother for you as you go forward with caregiving help. One of the things I thought was important too is to reward them once in a while. If they have something they like, I've had a lot of sisters that like chocolate, not a surprise. So I'd buy maybe different kinds of chocolate, maybe some ice cream. Let them sit down and enjoy themselves for a few minutes because it's not all work. And you don't want them to have that impression when they arrive at your location. You want them to be ready to have fun and to see you, and they're looking forward to that. You don't want to be the person where they come to visit that are just saying, wow, I have to get through another shift. I hope this guy's a nice guy this time. I mean, my God, last time it was rough. So you want to do things to make things light. Find out what kind of music. I've learned about some amazing different stations and artists that I wouldn't have had exposure to most likely if I didn't ask their opinion on what they like to listen to. So there's a lot of ways that you can find camaraderie. You can find a bond with your assistants that can last through the years. I've had some assistants that have worked over 10 years for me, and they become some of my best trainers, friends, and just had a great time appreciating their services and fun. One of the things that's very important to remember and understand is accidents are going to happen. There's going to be times where something just doesn't quite work out the way you would like it. That's when you want to show a lot of patience. They're not out there to hurt you. They're not out there to upset you. So set their mind at ease right off the bat. Let's say, hey, that was an accident. It's okay. I've had an accident once where I was going to the movies in my van. I had a rear entry lift. Sister accidentally dropped her to the ground instead of leaving it up so I could roll out on it. So I came out of the van with no lift, and the chair, of course, fell about 2.5 feet, and I was upside down like a turtle on my back. And she was super upset. She was crying and very upset, and I worked quickly to try to make her feel feel at ease with the situation. It's an accident. I'm fine. I'm not hurt. It's okay. You want to really talk them off the ledge because they can, they can feel the shock and the trauma as well. So you want to set that energy aside. You want to make it positive. Let them know it's okay. We know now. We've learned from this experience, and we both learned. I had one situation in particular, which, unbeknownst to me, was the water spray head in the shower had a faulty valve. What happened was that, we turned it off. At the top, we could shut the water off. But what it failed to do was turn off all the hot water. So the assistant had to run out of the room for one reason. I had left the shower nozzle head on my armrest. But there was still a little hot water leaking through, even though she had turned it off. It stopped all the cold water. But what happened was it resulted in a blister and a burn on my right thigh. Totally an accident, faulty design. But these are the kind of things we want to try to be as proactive as we can. Maybe I should have tested that shower head first when we turned it. Why is that water still dripping hot? So these are the kind of things that you learn through experience, but you want to minimize the accidents. And the best way to minimize the accidents is having a checklist, watching exactly what they're doing. Make sure you use your assistants that have already worked with you for quite some time that can train a new employee. And don't be afraid to let the employee share information. It's not snitching. I've asked my employees, say, hey, is somebody not, how's things going? You follow up how they do. And if they, say maybe they left something out, maybe the door wasn't locked, you want to know these things. You don't want to go after the assistant and say, hey, do you know you left that door unlocked? You want to approach it more in the fashion of, hey, you know what, you might want to be careful. You forgot to lock the door last night. It's okay. But make sure it gets locked in the future and have those checklists. Those help. Another thing I want to do is if assistant is not working out, not all of them are. Sometimes we're all fooled. I had one example to where, a girl had her assistant actually taken some money from me. I was starting to see some 20s disappear in my wallet here and there. I knew she was in financially pretty poor straits, but you don't want to tolerate that kind of thing. You don't want to lose things and have assistants that, have tendencies to maybe take from others. So the best thing you can do that is not keep your wallet out or leave cash in it until you can really trust the person. Secondly, don't leave your checkbook around, credit cards. Make sure you keep a pretty tight ship. I keep a lot of my personal things locked up in a file cabinet. I have a couple of assistants and family members that help me do financial things. So you want to minimize the exposure you have to those that might have your financial, might know your whole financial story. You want to keep that to a minimum if you can. Okay. So what I'd like to finish this with is I want you to feel free to go on my website at davidrippey.com. Go to YouTube, subscribe to this channel. Let people know that there's help out there. This is a great source, not only for those that have had a traumatic event or been in a wheelchair, but this is also good for caregivers, nurses, assistants, and family members that are facing that time now. Or maybe their parents need help. Maybe they're not sure how to go about it. So feel free to share the YouTube video. And I'd also like to mention that the book I wrote, Powering Through Paralysis, How to Survive and Thrive with Disability or Disease. I'm going to make that available to the first 100 people to watch this video, the first 100 people to subscribe. So send me your email. You can contact me on my website, davidrippey.com. And I'd be happy to send you a copy of my book. It will cover all the various things I'd like to cover going forward. So next week, we're looking to do one probably on health and wellness. To give you some better ideas about how I stayed healthy, living with a high-level spinal cord injury, and the things that can hurt us. The things that can hurt us with disease or traumatic events and paralysis. So looking forward to hearing back. Enjoy, and let me know your thoughts. Leave me some comments. Thank you. Good night.